Today, actually, kind of funky. I don't do this often, but let's actually turn our heads to the other end of the mat when we lay down. So normally if we lay it to the back, let's lay it to the front. So little funky, but we're laying down to get started this direction. So whenever you make your way down to that side, give yourself a couple of good relaxing breaths. Start to feel your breath just flowing through. Good inhales. Relaxing exhales. Body's prepped and ready to get flowing today. So we take a moment to connect with our intention. Today is a special day. Today is the summer solstice. It's a day of the most light or the longest day of the year. And so in order to kind of celebrate our solstice, we're doing something fun for our class today. We're practicing mandala yoga. So you'll notice when we get up to it, mandala yoga is when we do yoga to one direction that'll face us to the back of the mat, and then we do that same side again to face us back forward. And then we flip around to do the second side, doing the circle to the other direction. And so you'll notice these kind of circles that we're doing. Just imagine it's kind of like this earth rotating around the sun. It's this beautiful circular symmetrical flow that we have. So that's kind of the way that we'll celebrate. And for an internal focus, every day from here on out is going to get increasingly darker and darker. So oftentimes we associate dark with bad things, but what if it's not so? What if it's more about activity? So instead of being, the super increasing activity in our day, what if we include some sort of goal, some sort of internal intention or vision for ourselves of some sort of internal care that we would like to increase doing as we're heading toward more and more darkness this next half of the year. And so think of whatever that focus is for you. For me, I'll just use the term self-care because that's one of those deep internal things that we don't always include so much of. But imagine today's like that fresh start for the next half of the year. So just kind of think to yourself, whatever that intention is, as you continue to travel through class. So with that idea to get us started, let's begin to take the knees into the chest. Let's do easy circles for the hips and the low back. Just an easy couple of breaths flowing in and out, tuning into how all these muscle groups fill through the legs, through the hips. From here, we're going to start releasing our left leg. So drop that left leg all the way down to the ground. This right leg, take it into half happy baby. Right hand grabs the outside of right foot, sweeping wide. Give it a couple of breaths, just gently pulling that knee over. If the foot's too far to reach, you can always slip it down to ankle, shin area. Just feel this deep breathing taking over. We'll give this a couple of breaths of movement. So some of us might be taking a rocking type of movement. Some of us might be straightening this leg up and then bending it back down. So whatever movements feel nice for a couple of breaths. As we slip the right hand off that foot, take the hand to the right knee, the knees hugged in to this wide angle for just a breath. Then start to lift the knee up over the torso, continue to cross the knee over the body. Heading into a nice spinal twist, let the right shoulder be solid on the ground. And the rest of the body just does this easy twist all the way over. Another good inhale. Exhale. And then this knee that's heading over to the side continues to travel all the way to the ground. We flip our shoulders around. Once we're toward our belly, we essentially are in a half frog, so that knee is scooting up toward the shoulder. The hands can stack to create a little pull for the forehead. And just notice how the low back, how the hips are receiving this movement, this action. We're going to leave the knee where it is as we go up to a Sphinx pose. So elbows right underneath us. Notice how this is being received in the low back, the sacrum and hip area. So now as this knee returns back next to the other, you can either stay in Sphinx or go into seal. Seal is kind of like a yin yoga pose. You plant the hands a little bit wider than the mat, and the elbows straightening up gets us into just like a halfway spot between cobra and Sphinx. So again, if that's too intense for the low back, don't feel like you have to stay there. Either way, feel your heart stay open up nicely. And as we lower back down, take a shoulder opener. Right arm opens out to the right. Look your head away from that right arm, so right cheek is down. And then press the left hand to the ground. This will get the shoulders to stack, perhaps, maybe the hips stack. For some people, the top leg can rotate and plant behind the back. Don't feel like you have to force it. It's just however much that shoulder's happy with. Beautiful. So hips back down, free up the shoulder. And then take a moment with a child pose. So then hips lift up, hips back. Just notice how good this feels on that low back, on the spine. Okay, so we need to head to second side. So flip back around onto your back. The head is closer to the mirror side. So you're there, hug the knees back into the chest, a couple of easy rocking movements. You can start to drop the right leg all the way long to the ground. Left hand for left half happy baby. A couple of breaths just to be in this shape. A couple of breaths for movement, whether that's rocking or straightening leg, bending it. Whatever feels nice and helpful. Slide the hand down to the knee. Knee is wide for just a moment. And let the knee start to cross over the body. A nice spinal twist. Left arm opening up to the left. The knee crossing over to the right. Keep the knee heading into the twist. Lift the torso around. Got that left knee kind of scooting up to the left shoulder. We got the hands stacking. Just breathe. Couple of good rounds. Start to walk the elbows under the shoulders. Notice how this affects the sacrum, the low back. Sliding the knee back, you can stay in Sphinx, you can go up to seal. If you want to make it even deeper, maybe the still hands walk a little bit closer this time. Attention to the back, making sure it all feels good. Beautiful. Lowering down, the left arm goes up, open to the left. The left cheek is down, so we're gazing away from the left hand. And then head to that left shoulder stretch, maybe the hip stack, maybe the top leg plants on the floor behind us. And returning back down, head into child's pose. So imagining the hips are like the earth circling around the sun. We're going to do a nice huge hip circle as wide as we can get with the hips. So the hips are in the farthest point here. Start to circle over to the left, up, over to the right, and back. Right away, switch directions. Let's take one more of those circles to each side. We touch back at that farthest point on this last one. Back up to a nice kneeling spot. Let's take 3 cat-cows, moving through those muscles in the back. Rounding up. Drop the belly down. Let's take 2 more. And 1. Good. Spine back to neutral. Let the right leg kick back behind us. If you want the left arm to go also forward, that would be an additional challenge. So opposites, right leg, left arm. You don't have to do the arm. Whether it's just the leg or both the arm and the leg is 5 times. Let's take the elbow and our knee underneath and then stretch it back out. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hands back down. Cross this right foot off to the left side of the mat. Once the toes are there, jump the hips off to the right and then gaze over your left shoulder for those toes. So this should be getting outer hip stretch. And then spine returns. Take this right foot directly back behind us. Turn into a calf stretch, press back until you can feel that right calf. Sometimes people have to lift up the other knee, sometimes it can stay on the ground. Up to your body. And as we drop the knee down, if it lifted, this right leg continues to circle off to the right side. Tucking the back toes, let's take a little back bend for a moment. So rise up to a nice high kneeling place. Try to aim the left fingers to that left heel. And the right hand reaches up, maybe back. Beautiful. Rising up. Gently drop down to hands, maybe elbows. Good. Coming back up to hands, continue to circle this right foot all the way up to this top right corner of the mat. And we'll take lizard pose. So the hands go up toward that top. The hips, really the big piece here, the hips start to go forward. So as deep as we can take them. From there, it's up to you if you stay up here or drop one or both elbows down. It's all based on what feels good. The big thing though is that we do pull the front of that left hip. That's just like that. Okay, so coming back up onto hands, we're going to travel up to Malasana pose. So the back knee lifts. Step that left foot up to the top left corner. If we can go to full Malasana, you're welcome to go down into that squat, pushing the elbows into the knees. If you need to go up a bit higher, you can push the hands into the knees and just have a slightly higher stance. Either way, we're helping those hips to open for a couple of breaths. Beautiful. Straighten the legs, turn the toes forward. Nice slightly wide forward fold for the legs. Just take that beautiful stretch. Inhale to rise up to stand. Exhale, immediately dive right back down into the forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, planting the hands, shift back. Either take child's pose, down dog, or perhaps the first flow of the day. Good. We all end up back down on the knees. From here, left leg swings back straight behind us. Maybe the right arm forward. Staying, you might be plenty of work for some people. If you're doing okay, take 5 cycles, elbow, knee, underneath. Straighten back out. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the hands go down. Cross this foot off to the right side, at the toes, and then push the hips to the left. And gaze over your shoulder toward those toes. Starting that huge circle for this left foot. Good. So back the hips and the spine out of it. Continue to circle the foot to the back of the mat. Keep the toes half stretched. Either press back until you feel it, or even press so far you have to maybe lift hip And as the knee drops down, continue to circle left foot to the left. Taking the back bend, so tuck the back toes, rise up to the kneeling high spot. Right hand for right heel, and hips forward, left hand up and back. Take your time to ease out of it, dropping back down to elbows. So as we're back up on hands, this left foot up to the top left corner. Remember, the hips need to be sinking forward. That's really the biggest action that's taken. Once the hips are released there, you choose. Maybe one elbow goes down, sometimes both. Come up onto hands, lift up this right knee, step the right foot to the top, either that high pushing hips open lunge or the low Balasana squats. Either way, the elbows or hands are helping those hips to rotate open. Good, so hands drop down, straighten the legs, turn the toes forward. Nice inhale to bring us up to the sky. Exhale comes to the heart. And let's start to take our feet underneath us. So here's where we're going to start playing with the mandalas that I promised. So the first one's going to be a pretty easy one, pretty basic. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about, turning us to face away from the mirror, eventually back forward, and then second side to go all the way back around the other way. So we'll do one that's pretty basic and then one that's a bit more complex after that. So starting off here, just nice and easy, standing upright, shift your weight onto the left foot. And try to see, kind of like when we were laying on our back, see if this right hand can grab this right knee nice and wide. Just kind of hugging it up and in, see if it can go. Good, so one more inhale. And then exhale, this leg crosses behind us, planting off the mat on that left side. The front knee's a little bit bent. Reaching up above us, grab onto the right wrist. And pull that right wrist over to the left. So it sets up a huge side body stretch. Good, as we release the wrist, step this foot back onto the mat, warrior one position, arms up to sky. So you should have left forward, right back. From here, clasp the hands behind your back. Take that easy shoulder stretch as we bow forward. Our hands drop down to the floor. Pivot your feet to turn to the long edge of the mat. You've got a wide angle forward fold. Bending the knees, roll the spine up. We're going to pivot both On both heels, facing to the back of the mat, 2 straight legs, and we're taking pyramid pose. So I like to start off with the hands at the hips, so that I know that the hips stay level with one another as I start to bend directly forward. When I get about halfway there, I'll drop my hands maybe to the thigh, the shin, blocks, floor. Try to keep the legs straight. If it feels like the knees starting to bend, actually rise up a little bit. That'll be just a little bit. Good. Huge stretch for the hamstrings. And the knees, roll up. As we shift our weight onto that right foot, the one at the back of the mat, this second leg, the left one, is going to try to take a figure 4 shape. Got that left ankle in the right thigh.
So when we have a right leg.
Yep, you're standing on the right leg. Yep. Your left ankle comes up. And then you're sitting back, figure 4. So standing leg can bend, maybe hands drop down. Always use the wall if you need to. Good. And stand upright, drop the left foot down. We're ready for second side. So same, it'll feel like the same thing because it is the same thing. One more time, just gonna suck around. So shifting weight to the left foot, that's right, and goes to right knee. The side, trying to balance. As we release, cross the right foot off the left side of the mat. The front knee bends to that lunge. Reach the hands up above head. Grab right wrist, pull it over to the left. Like a banana twist. Good. As you release, bump to your standing foot into warrior 1 shape back in the middle of the mat. Arms split up high. Clasp the hands behind your back. Bow forward, shoulder stretch. Okay, as hands drop down, pivot the toes to the long edge of the mat. You should be facing to backward. Bending knees, let's roll our spine up. Pivot both heels to the top of the mat. 2 straight legs, and then slide down to pyramid pose. The second side, maybe there's a little bit of additional space. Remember again, if that knee starts to bend, instead lift up a bit higher so the leg can shift. Good. Bend the knees, roll the spine up. Shifting your weight onto right foot, left ankle up, figure 4. Gonna bend the standing leg a little bit. Helping that rotate up. Okay, and release. Second side. If you need to shake hands, shake feet for a second, help us reset, that's great. Whenever you're ready, this time we're standing on right foot. And this left knee is the one that swings open. Try to catch it, maybe balance. Just release, cross it off the mat. That right side, reach up, grab left wrist, pull it to the right. Pull into front forward side. Okay, bump your foot to warrior 1. Clasp hands behind your back. Bow forward. And dropping hands down, turn to the long edge, wide angle. Bending the knees, roll up. Pivot on the heels to the back of the mat. Pyramid, slide down that side. This is the first one for that deep hamstring stretch for left. Ease into that side. Bending the knees, roll the spine up. Shifting weight onto left foot. Right does the figure 4. Gonna bend standing legs, sitting back like we're about to go into a chair. Help that right hip open. Amazing. Drop the right foot to the ground. Our weight shifts onto it. Left knee comes up, try to grab it. As we release, cross it off the right edge of the mat, up above, grab left wrist, pull it to the right. And moving back onto the mat, warrior 1. Hand clasp behind. Bow forward, shoulder stretch. Hand drop down, wide angle to the long edge. Bending the knees, roll up. Pivot on heels to the top. Slide down, last pyramid. Bending the front knee, roll up. Shift your weight onto the front foot, and then right ankle, figure 4. Okay, good work. Rising up, plant the foot down. If you need to shake anything out, great. This next one will have quite a few additional options. But some of them are, some challenges. So if some of us are not there, just stay at the spot where you can, and I'll let you know that that's an option, and then move on from there. So we'll start off with just hand at the heart. Big toes close, heels slightly separated. We're sitting back into fierce pose. So let's go all the way back like a chair. From here, you either hook the right wrist and open up the left arm, or slide down to that right elbow. Good. Bump the hands back up to the heart. Drop fingers to the floor. Get the legs will straighten a bit. Your right leg floats up to the sky. Try to get either the supported warrior 3 or standing split. Then start to bend this front knee. Gently land the back foot down. Sweep the arms up, warrior 1. Open up warrior 2. Either stay on warrior 2 or optional half moon pose. Briefly cartwheeling the left hand to that outside angle. Then gently landing back half moon. Okay, back to warrior 2 is what I meant. So then from here, front elbow rests on front thigh. This other arm does 2 full circles, so 1 to each direction. So circle all the way around that shoulder joint 1. Flip it around, second direction. Good. Rise back up, warrior 2. From here, turn the toes open, 45-degree angles. The toes are pointed. Hands drop to the inner thigh, inner knee area. As we lean forward, we're hoping to push those thighs really open. Maybe a nice little shoulder stretch, right shoulder dipping forward, and left shoulder. Return. As we straighten the legs, we're taking triangle pose to the back of the mat. So right toes turn to the back, the other toes turn to the side. Open up the arms. Just switching feet, Anna. And then right hand to the right hand to the shin, left to sky. Beautiful. Rising back up. Warrior one facing the back wall. Drop the hands to the floor. Drop the back knee down. Then shift the hips back. Half splits. Front foot from here, that right one turns into pigeon pose. So slide the toes off to the side, scoot the back knee back. Walk the lower down to sleeping pigeon. Pay attention to the sacrum. You're not dropping onto the right hip. You're staying right there even in the spine. Up on the hands. Drop your weight now all the way onto the right hip. This left leg swings all the way through the side, all the way around, land on the outside of that right. Once it's crossing over, the right hand or the right elbow hooks around the knee. Left hand is behind. Easy spinal twist. You'll get used to it by the second and third repetition. Okay, and then the last thing to take us back up to standing is kind of a funky transition. If it's not working for your body, just come to a standing forward fold and that's fine. If you can do it, what you do is you try to flatten the hands, the hips up until you're kneeling on the right knee. And then your weight goes onto this left foot and the right leg goes up to standing split. From there, right foot down, forward fold. Good. Feel till the big toes to touch, feel slightly separated. Inhale, circle arms up to sky. Hands to heart. Set the hips back. Second side, work the right wrist, spiraling left arm open, or go to elbows. And free hands to heart. Drop fingers to floor, maybe try to straighten the legs. Right leg swings back, supported warrior three, or standing split. That right foot lands all the way softly at the back of the mat. Warrior one, float the arms up. Warrior two. Optional half moon for just a brief moment. Landing back, warrior two. Beautiful. So from here, front elbow to front thigh, the top arm is a full circle to each direction. So going around 1 and 2. Good, rising back up, warrior 2. And 1, stance, toes turn into 45-degree angles, push the knees open. You have an additional option here if you want to take it, dropping the hands to the floor. Go over the right side, right bend knee, left side straight, bow, side lunge. And if you took it to one side, take it to the other. Good, rising back up to the center. Triangle. This time, right toes face the top of the mat. Open the arms up. Swing the right hand to face the top, and right hand to shin, left hand to sky. And rising up. Warrior one facing top of mat. And fingers to floor. Back knee down. Half splits. You want to go a little deeper for this second side for this leg. That's great. Right foot works its way off to the left, pigeon. Set the knee down, scoot the back knee backwards. Maybe drop down sleepy pigeon. Okay, coming up onto hands, rock onto this right hip. Leave this right knee, the left leg swings all the way through the side, all the way out in front, maybe foot plant to this outside of right thigh. And then take this final twist. Tuck the elbow or the wrist. Put the left hand behind us. Good. Okay, return forward. You want to try to do the funky little adjustment. Come to flat that left foot, right foot, standing split. Then we all eventually end up both feet down, forward fold. Recenter the toes. Take the feet, big twist and touch, heels slightly separated. And rise up. Good, hands to heart. Second side, fierce pose, sit back. You left wrist or slide into left elbow. Good, hands to heart. Fingers to floor, maybe straighten the legs. Left leg tries to float up, supported warrior three, our standing split. Softly land those toes at the back. Sweep up warrior one. Warrior two. Either stay warrior two or breathe half moon. Or land. Good extended side angle. Right elbow down. Left arm does the full arm circle each direction. And back up warrior two. Turn the toes open 45 degrees, hands to the knees, press open. Maybe right shoulder dips forward. And left shoulder. Back to the center, straighten the legs. Triangle to the back of the mat. So left toes are facing that back edge. Swing the arms open. Reach left arm to the left. Left hand to shin. Right arm to sky. Raising up. Facing to the back of the mat, warrior one. Drop the hands to the floor. Lower the back knee down. Half splits. Straighten the left leg. Just enjoy that beautiful length as you try to get the torso closer to the thigh. Okay, that front leg, into pigeon pose. Maybe even sleeping pigeon. weight onto the left hip. Right leg is the one now that swings all the way that full circle into our twin plant. Left hand or left elbow hooks. Right hand is behind us. We release, shifting our weight forward until that right foot can plant, left foot up to the sky, standing split, and forward fold. Shift the feet to the center, big toes close. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise, one last side. Front to the heart. Set the hips back fierce. Left wrist or left elbow hooks. Hands to heart. Fingers floor, try to straighten legs. Standing split, left leg close up. Softly land back. Warrior one. Pick up warrior two. Stay or optional half moon. Back to warrior two. Extended side angle, elbow down. Top arm does the circle to each direction. Back up warrior two. Trying to go with toes open, either press the hips wide or optional low side lunge. You're taking it. Second side if you went there. And back up to the center, everybody stands. Triangle, left toes to the top. Swing the arms open. Left arm reaches forward until it drops to shin. Right hand to sky. And returning up. Warrior one facing forward. Press the floor. Drop the back knee down. Half split. Maybe you're going slightly deeper on this side. It's a pigeon. Last one of the day. Rocking left hip down, swing this right leg all the way around, spinal twist. Beautiful. Either go straight to cobbler pose, or if you want to try one last time, stand, just do a brief lift. And then you're going to retuck the leg exactly as it was to come back down, and we all join in cobbler. But we have to balance those that are up for the challenge. Kind of fun. All right, so just feel those hips have a good chance to open as we're taking these last couple of postures. It's like we're heading toward that cooler, slower section. It's like the earth heading toward this cooler, darker section of the year. Rising up, let the legs open out, wide triangle shape. Just see how much the fingers want to ease forward for a couple of breaths. Looking in, the legs swing together to touch. So breathe forward, fold, circle arms up to sky. Exhale, release down. And make sure there's enough mat behind you. You need to scoot forward, go ahead. We're going to try to engage the core, slowly rolling down onto our back. Once we're there, if we're immediately ready for Shavasana, just feel your body release down. If there's a last stretch that you need up here on your back, go ahead and take all the time you need to just explore them. Feel good, feel open. We'll eventually be in Shavasana sooner or later. So as you're in Shavasana, again, sooner or later, perhaps imagine the inhale is like light, the exhale is like darkness. With the darkness going to be increasing in the world from here on out, let's allow this exhale to be extra long. So if the inhale is a good length, make the exhale even longer. Here, beginning to deepen the inhale. Deepen the exhales. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes. Ankles and wrists. Stretching out before waking up, first thing in the morning. Eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. Just enjoy a few bonus breaths right here. Chance just to breathe, to reconnect to our seed, to our idea that we were thinking of for today. Eventually rising up when we feel ready. With hands at our heart, you remember darkness isn't necessarily bad. It's more similar to lower activity. So perhaps there's a lower activity goal that we can continue to connect with to lead us into the second half of the year. A goal like self-care, spending that time for us, building ourselves up so that we can give the best of ourselves to others. So with this idea to lead us toward these days of increasing darkness, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.